I got some exciting news, Baylor Nation. Baylor women's basketball landed a transfer. And it's one that I jokingly said on Twitter, wouldn't it be funny if she rejoins Dre Edwards? And it happened. I did make a video on this like yesterday on she was visiting Baylor. It's from Kentucky, and I know Kentucky wasn't that good, which serves them right because they denied Dre Edwards' waiver from stupid Kyra LZ, and they were 2-14 in the conference. They did win 2 conference tournament games and a 12-19 overall, but that's besides the point here. And we don't have to worry about a waiver deal from her. She was the second leading scorer at Kentucky this past year. And first, she's a 5'8", 7-inch guard that's going to be a junior next year. So she has 2 years of eligibility. So this kind of helps for that class that we, like when Sneaky Colin took over, to have 2 players and not just one. I know she's another smaller guard at 5'7", but you cannot have enough of those guards. I mean, you got to have really good guard play to keep up with today's game. I mean, now Jada Walker started every game this past year, all 31 of them, and 22 out of 31 her freshman year. But this year, 12.9 points per game, 3.1 rebounds per game, 3.1 assists per game, 2.6 steals per game, 0.2 blocks per game, 2.7 turnovers per game, 2.6 fouls per game, 81.7% from the free throw line on 93 attempts, and 26 for 78 on threes. So she was 41.6% from the field. I'm not worried about this team now in terms of needs. Now the question is, will we lose anybody? The only thing I could see issues with this player is the turnovers and maybe a little bit on the fouls and 3-point shooting, but I think 3-point shooting should move up. She's got other options and won't have to be the primary focus. She's going to get easier looks. I would think the turnovers per game would be reduced too, because she might not be the primary ball handler because of Yaya Felder that we got last night. And not only that, we got Jay Owens and Sarah Andrews and Janet Van Geinbeek. We got other guards to help her out. I mean, and in addition, we do have Asia Blackwell back, and Dre Edwards, and Madison Bartley. We're set. And it's not including Darion Little Page Boggs off the bench. And same thing goes for Bella Fauntleroy too. I mean, we are set in stone to me. This is no question a Sweet 16 team. No question about it. It's a matter of, can they go further, like in Elite Eight, Final Four, maybe a national title? That's the question, but I would just temper your expectations and just hope for a Sweet 16. Just to get back there. I mean, and I think now this depth is going to help us a lot, because remember, the last few years we've had depth issues. And not only that, we were battling injuries with Sarah Andrews with the wrist, not this past year, but the year before, and Jane Owens had shin splints the last 2 years. I mean, during the season, she's dealt with that. And of course, we had some sickness as well. So these are 2 players that are kind of similar as Jamie Asbury in a way, except taller, like 2 or 3 inches. This is what it really is. And of course, it's not including Leticia Vasco-Lona as our lone signee for this upcoming year as a freshman as well. I mean, and the only 3 players that are given to be done after next year are Jane Owens, Dre Edwards, and Asia Blackwell. Those other seniors could have they might come back for another year of eligibility. And Erica Porter is still there as of right now, but we have to wait and see if she does transfer out. She might not have a lot of minutes. That's the problem. I mean, And Kyle Abraham, too. I wouldn't worry about Kyle transferring out. She's only a sophomore. She's probably going to play some more. Maybe a little bit about the same as Leticia Vasconcelos. So, I wouldn't worry. That's just a basic overview of that roster now. We do have one available scholarship remaining, assuming everybody comes back. It's not. I forgot to mention Kennedy Ferreira as well at guard. So we got more than enough depth. And I'm not just talking about hardly play players either. I mean quality wise. We're not going to have that problem. So, unless injuries occur, but even then, we have more than enough depth. And the Big 12 is very, very winnable next year. Because let's face it, Iowa State, they're going to take a step back. It's no question. Oklahoma State, they're probably going to take a step back. I mean, because of their losses recently to the transfer portal. We already know Oklahoma's going to take a step back. Sure, Texas loses one player and returns the majority of the other players, but they're not a three-point shooting team. I mean, I'm just pointing that out. And Kansas should be only better because I think they might return all their seniors. And West Virginia has a new head coach. Same thing goes for Cincinnati. And we have a couple of second-year coaches like Oklahoma State, for example. Of course, TCU has a new head coach as well in West Virginia. Yeah. UCF has a second-year head coach. BYU has a second-year head coach. So, I know in the preseason poll, we are ranked 17th, according to the last one. So, but you know, those way too early polls anyway, don't mean anything until really the season starts. And even when right before it starts, it doesn't mean anything because we know upsets do occur. This year had a lot more parity. I mean, when you look at it, and I mean, South Carolina didn't even win the national title back to back. So, despite being a 1 seed, and look at all those 2 1 seeds this past year didn't even make the Sweet 16. They didn't even make it there. It was now 1 versus a 2 in an NCAA title game. It was a 2 versus a 3. So I do think we're very well set off, pretty good in terms of depth, especially quality wise, and we're going to have more than enough options that will help us. So we're kind of be like Oklahoma in a way in terms of depth of last year, except we play real defense. Yeah, I'm taking a shot at Oklahoma for that. I mean, it's the truth. Because we're a better defensive team than Oklahoma is. Let's be clear. So, anyways, if you like this content, like and subscribe and see you guys later. 5 subscribers, we're on the road to it. Let's go.